And a warm welcome to the program. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Our focus is on the North Central today, but first, our top stories. The former governor of Kogi State, Mr. Yahaya Bello, has asked the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Soho, to transfer his trial to Lokoja. Mr. Bello said that he preferred to be arraigned in Lokoja, being the place the alleged money laundering offense was committed. At a resumed hearing, his counsel, Mr. Adedipe Adeola San, informed Justice Emeka Wite that a letter requesting for the transfer of his trial had already been delivered to the Chief Judge for his administrative decision. However, the request for transfer was opposed by the EFCC lead counsel, who described the request as an attempt to frustrate the trial. The EFCC lawyer asked Justice Wite to hold Mr. Adedipe and Mr. Mohammed, both Sans, responsible for their inability to produce their client in court, despite the undertakings they made. The EFCC lawyer also requested that the two Sans be cited for contempt of court. The court has fixed July the 17th for arraignment of the former governor and ruling on the EFCC's request to cite the Sans for contempt. The Kwara State Primary Healthcare Development Agency has activated its incident management system to ensure cholera outbreak is managed. In a press conference held at the agency's Emergency Operations Center, the incidents manager at the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Kabir Sulaiman, says that the state has recorded 118 suspected cases of cholera, out of which 2 were confirmed in Kusada local government area. He also announced that the state government has embarked on building about 102 health facilities across the LGAs and has designated 34 comprehensive health centers with cholera treatment units and centers. The implementation of the Renewed Hope Police Agenda has commenced to ensure that the police fulfills its mandate. The Minister of State Police Affairs, Iman Sulaiman, disclosed this at a citizens' town hall on strengthening community policing held in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. She added that the core of the agenda is the implementation of a community policing strategy designed based on local peculiarities with the full participation of the residents. Our correspondent Halima Gayam has this report. We'll have that report in a moment. Amnesty International has put the number of farmers killed between January 2023 to February this year at 2,500 in some rural communities in Benue State. Briefing journalists in Makurdi, the state capital, the program manager, Barbara Magaji, reeled out the statistics in a report which also captures the amount of schools destroyed and farmers that were displaced.
Attacks on rural communities in Benue State have left a lot of farmers and their families displaced. Many have even been killed. This has caught the attention of Amnesty International, which has been investigating the impact of suspected herdsmen farmers crisis and have come out with their findings in the last 12 months.
Over 50 rural communities in Benue State recorded at least 135 attacks, leading to the deaths of over 2,600 people. These attacks are significantly affecting food security and livelihood because the affected communities are farmers, and displacement make them unable to carry out any farming activity.
According to the group, education and economic activities have also been affected by these attacks, as 55 public schools and 23 markets were destroyed, with an appeal to the federal government to ensure justice for the victims.
According to the Ministry of Education and Benue State Teaching Service Board, at least 55 schools have been destroyed by armed attackers or closed down due to insecurity, leaving hundreds of children out of school. The Nigerian authorities have a duty to protect lives, and the attacks in Benue must end.
While responding to the findings, the Benue State government lists efforts being made to end the crisis, just as the security representative calls for support to ensure public safety.
His Excellency had approached the President of the Federal Republic, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he deployed the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs who had come here. and we have the first dignity settlement that the government has approved for building for IDPs who are willing to resettle there.
Yeah, we are working around the clock assiduously with other security agencies, to ensure that crime and criminality in the state is brought to the various minimum.
The Benue state government adds that the multi-level approach adopted by the administration of Governor Hyacinth Alia has helped to enroll the state into the National Emergency Response Plan of the federal government.
The Academic Union of Universities, ASU, has once again appealed to the federal government to implement its various agreements in order to avert another strike. At separate press conferences, the Kwara State University and University of Ilorin called for more funding and listed some of their demands yet to be met by the federal government. While the Kwara State University asked the federal and state governments to improve the already established institutions instead of approving new ones.
The Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency's 2024 annual flood outlook indicates that 31 states with 148 local government areas have been predicted to be within the high flood risk areas. In Kwara State, some of the areas predicted as high and moderate risk are Patigi, Edu, Kayama, Asa and Baritan local governments. That is why the National Emergency Management Agency is raising awareness as well as alerting these community leaders in the state.
Disaster has been happening all over the world. And as a result of this, it has led to destruction of livelihood, loss of life all over the world.
Representative of the flood probe communities equally appeal for early relocation of people and subsequently permanent solutions to the menace.
I've been appealing to the appropriate bodies that all those in riverine area, they should try to relocate them to better environment. When you come to Patigi local government, going to the prone areas, you can have about close to more than 50 communities.
The Assistant Director, Relief and Rehabilitation, NEMA, Mr. Daniel Obot, advised the people not to take early warning signs lightly, but wants the state to be proactive in dealing with the prediction.
I call for support in this initiative of downscaling, flood early warning, and risk mitigation strategies to the grassroots for those who are not here to understand and comply with the early warning alerts.
The Kwara State government makes a strong case for frequent dredging of River Niger, building of more buffers and afforestation to stem the dangers of flooding in communities.
You are dredging the sediment, seeds. It's seated up. It's like it's blocking the bed of the river. So when you have these materials at the bed of the river, they contain less water. So the moment they have little water coming up, it will overflow.
NEMA urges all residents of Kwara State to take the warning seriously and to make necessary preparations to safeguard lives and property.
That was a report on the NEMA warning of imminent high and flood disasters in some parts of Kwara State. Well, we're taking a moment now. When we return, we'll have more stories. Do stay with us. Welcome back. The federal government has commissioned the 1.2-kilometer concrete basin canal under the Hydroelectric Power Process Producing Areas Development Commission Flood Control Intervention Program with a pledge to dredge River Benue as a permanent solution. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akumebu, was represented at the occasion by the Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Rousseff, highlights the President's intentions to address major developmental challenges in states across the country. while the managing director of Hyperdeck, Mr. Sadiq Abubakar, narrates the severity of flooding and assures the Benue State government and residents of resumption of work on phase 2 of the project to evacuate water from all residential areas along Naka Road. To tell us what his agency is doing to reduce the impact of flood in the North Central region is the Managing Director of the Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, Hyperdeck, Mr. Abubakar, who joins us from Kwara State. A pleasure having you with us on the program.
Good afternoon.
Now, it's a good thing that you are in Kwara State. Can you give us an update about the support to the flood-affected victims and communities?
Thank you very much. Yeah, we are in Kwara State, particularly Pategi area, where we are expecting flooding concerns, and that we were there to look at intervention we are trying to give to the community by constructing 600-meter drain that is going to take out all flooding challenges out down to the main river. And that we are done with Pategi. We have just arrived in Moregi, Niger State, where we are constructing 120 in order to keep those that may be affected by flood in Niger State, in Moregi. But I'm happy with the progress of work. So basically, not only in Niger, we have constructed 600 meters of drain in Kotonkarfe, a concrete drain, and 199 meters of ordinary drain, not concrete, in order to direct the water that is coming from the hill and across Kotonkarfe to River Benue. These are major challenges that subsequent years have become a serious issue to the community. For instance, the intervention we had in Benue State, year in, year out, many houses are lost, many lives are lost in the EDA based area. And but with our intervention, the situation has come to a successful addressing of issue. And that during the commissioning, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation directed us to commence procurement activities of the second phase of the exercise. We have commenced that too. As the exercise is completed, we are going to award the contract. This is also with Kwara, Kebbi, Niger State. The major concerns we have is in the Moregi and Kezo area. You may recall during the 2006-2007 rainy season, several lives were lost, several houses were lost, and the community was promised resettlement. And up to now, the communities have been resettled. Over 12 villages were affected. So, but our capacity can only address 120 households for now, which we believe can address the immediate challenge, and that as soon as we have sufficient resources, we are going to build more. In Kezo, we have constructed 60 houses. In Kogi State, we have constructed 40. In Niger, we are constructing 30. In Kwara, we have approved construction of 60. So these are some of the houses we are able to provide in order to address those that may be displaced from their houses. We wish we can do more, but our major challenge is finance. The major financing institution that should have been funding the commission is the GenCos, the HydroGenCos, and up to now, as I'm talking to you, we have not started drawing from that angle, and we are presently relying on the logical funding support from the state and local government.
Okay, Mr. Yawa, you're saying that the EDA basin, which is having a new concrete drainage at the moment, how significant will it reduce flooding in Benue and Kogi State? We sincerely apologize for the poor audio quality in that interview with the Hyperdeck Managing Director, Mr. Abubakar Yewa. We'll try and reestablish contact with him before the end of the program. To other stories now. The Nigeria Governors Forum is assuring workers of a better minimum wage, even as it has adjourned its meeting to further consult with stakeholders on the matter. The communique issued by the chairman of the forum after a meeting that lasted into this morning notes that the governors are desirous of a better minimum wage for workers. The issue of the new national minimum wage and the local government autonomy were prominent on the agenda. Although the chairman of the forum turned down media interviews after the meeting at the NJF Secretariat in Abuja, the governor of Zamfara State said the forum will consult further on the issues of a new minimum wage and local government autonomy. The implementation of the renewed Hope Police agenda has commenced to ensure that the police fulfills its mandate. The Minister of State for Police Affairs disclosed this at a citizens' town hall on strengthening community policing held in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. Our correspondent Halima Gayam has this report.
The Ministry of Police Affairs brings Nasarawa stakeholders from the government, security formations, religious leaders, youth groups, the traditional institution and civil society organizations to Lafia, the state capital. How are we as police? It's the second citizens' town hall on strengthening community policing in the country, as authorities begin the implementation of the renewed Hope Police agenda to create a shift in the approach to policing.
We have different local governments, and each local government had their own peculiarities in terms of security challenges. So those challenges need to be identified first, and then we now look at it strategically. How do we solve it?
The Minister of State for Police Affairs, Iman Suleiman, the Inspector General of Police, represented by the DIG Intelligence, Dasuki Galadanchi, Governor Abdullahi Saleh, and the state security chiefs engage in a high-level panel discussion, sharing insights on the efforts to improve security.
We have commenced a nationwide engagement. That way we give power in the hands of the people to be able to safeguard and protect their communities.
Sharing the Nasarawa experience, Governor Abdullahi Saleh harps on inclusivity.
Everyone knows his own role and where to stay and where to go. We have been able now to have both the Fulanis as well as the farmers. And when I say the Fulanis, mainly the herders, being able to understand themselves. So we have been able to achieve a lot.
While the state police boss calls for more vigilance from residents to curb crime.
So many of us don't know our neighbors. You don't know what he does for a living. And we have been seeing a lot coming into the state. Some are using some of the traditional rulers to purchase lands. It's very vital. Let us know those people that are coming, so that they will not come and bring insecurity to us in these various communities.
According to the Police Affairs Ministry, this town hall engagement will be replicated in all the states to deepen the participation of the people in improving security in their domain. Halima Gayam, Channels Television News.
The Director General, Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, Mr. Michael Ohiani, has called on subnationals to establish a robust regulatory framework before going into the public-private partnership agreement. Mr. Ohiani was speaking in Mina, Niger State, during the second quarterly Nigeria Public-Private Partnership Network meeting, where he asked the government to embrace the private sector partnership to fast-track development in the country. Meanwhile, the Niger State Head of Service, Mr. Abubakar Salisu, explained that its government is ambitious of achieving infrastructural stability and is engaging the private sector for 95% partnership for ongoing projects. That's the program today. Many thanks for watching. I'm Melinda Akinlami.